Hello and welcome those of you who are joining us. We'll get started in a few minutes. Happy that you're here.
Good morning, everyone. We're just kind of finalizing some things for you. I'll go ahead and drop the slides in the chat as well as sign-in form. Remember, you only have to sign in once, so you may have already did that in the keynote and opening, but just want to make sure you guys have access to those resources. Want to make sure you're getting paid. All right, so here are the slides. And then we're going to go ahead and drop that sign in now. We'll probably give folks a chance to get here. So I'll probably start at 9:55. So this is a perfect time. You need a drink of water, want to take a little stretch break, do all those things, take care of you. And we'll start promptly at 9:55. Super excited to see all of you guys here today. Ooh, people are playing around with those reactions already. Animated thumbs up. I love to see it. All right, we still have some folks trickling in. Good morning, everybody. Super excited that you're here and you chose to dive in a little bit deeper with digital learning with Nobi and I today. We're going to drop the slides and the sign in and the chat. Feel free to engage with the slides. We'll also have them up so you don't have to engage with them yet, but it's nice to bookmark them if you want to come back to things like I do. I'm also going to drop the sign in form. It is one sign-in only for today, but we want to make sure you guys are getting your payment for being here before the school year has officially begun. So we want to make sure you have access to that. Once you sign in once, you don't have to sign in again. Just make sure you do sign in at least one time today. Super excited to see some familiar faces in the screen, some new faces. We're going to give folks about 3 more minutes. If you're anything like me, trying to get your water intake up, so go grab a cup of water, some coffee, some tea, whatever you need to feel your most comfortable. We'll get started shortly.
Evelyn, while we're waiting, do you happen to have the link for the information on how to get paid? And we have a few folks asking, maybe we can just add that to the list. Thank you so much.
Sure thing. I don't have an exact link, but I know it's one of our slides, so I'll just move us over to that slide so you guys can see for sure. And maybe I'll just go between those 2 pages. You guys can see this one. If you have the slide open, it's slide number 3, and you can kind of click and get more information that way. Um, if you want to scan your QR code, I'll go back in about 1 minute so you guys can see the sign in. And we'll go that way. I can probably just copy this too. Here. Oops, sorry. Let me find that form. Thank you, Miss Desiree, for sharing that with me.
You're welcome.
All right, here's more information for folks who just want to know more about how to get paid and making sure you're recording it the right way. We're gonna start in 1 more minute. Also want to make sure you guys have access to signing in. You can scan the QR code, you can type in the bit.ly. Remember, you only sign in once for today. And then I'll slide over to the next slide so you guys can see information about how to get paid. We just put in the chat the full document. All right. I think we're gonna go ahead and get started. So, good morning, everybody. If you are here to chat a little bit with Nobi and I about setting the stage for digital learning in SFUSD. We're super excited that you guys chose to spend some time with us. Also, if you're like, I just want to get the information and share later, we would not feel bad if you have to hop off and do other things. We know this is a busy time of year. Get what you need. You can always come back to us to get some more later too. So we're gonna get started. Another reminder, make sure you're signing in. We really want to make sure you guys are making sure you're getting your payment for coming up, showing up today. Scan the QR code. I also drop the links in the chat so that you guys can have access to that, the slides and the sign in. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that in.
I got you.
Oh, thank you, Nobi. And then we're also going to bring you guys here information about getting paid. If you just want to know a little bit more about the process or where you can go, they have a whole document about how to get paid for this institute and others. So make sure you check that out, take a look and see. Always want to make sure you sign in. You also, a recommendation is to record and submit your PD template to your supervisor. It may actually not be your supervisor, it may just be the person who does payroll or checks in with you that way, making sure that you guys have alignment there. And if you want to use any of your 18 hours, make sure you input those hours into your timesheet, and all those links give you information on how to do those things. If you are joining us, you are here with us to chat about setting the stage in digital learning in SFUSD. My name is Devlin Jackson, and I have my awesome facilitator with me, Nobi, to join the call. We really want you guys to walk away with knowing a little bit about what's going on with digital learning and also the instructional guides and where you can go get more information. This is only an hour-long session. It's not going to be enough time to chat about all the things, but we hope that it's enough time for you to know where to go to get the information you want. Before we dive super deep, we would love to know who is in the room with us. So in the chat, please type your name, school site, or department and the role that you're in, and really kind of taking a second to reflect with yourself. Hopefully it's been a great summer, but we really want you guys to make a commitment to yourself this year. And what do you need to make that happen? So give yourself maybe 2 to 3 minutes to think about it and 2 more minutes to write. Type it in the chat so we can see who's here with us today.
And Devlin, it looks like folks' chat messages are going directly to me and to me
Oh
alone.
no. Here, let me see if I can change that really quickly.
Oh, sorry about that, folks.
Yeah, we want you guys to be able to chat. Give me 1 second. Has it shifted now? Does it allow you guys to chat? Or is it still just direct?
Still direct to Nobi.
Oh, there we
Oh,
go.
no.
It just shifted.
Okay, perfect. We'll give you guys some more time since we had little technical difficulties. But feel free to drop your name, school site, what you'll be doing this school year in the district, and a commitment you've made to yourself. Or maybe if you don't want to write the commitment, what you need from others or from yourself to make sure that happens. One commitment I'm making for myself is to drink more water. Some days are better than others. Today's a pretty good day. I'm already at 1 o'clock and it's only 10 o'clock, so I'm doing pretty good. Ooh, I love it when we have educators across the district, all types of grade levels hopping on. That means that all of our students, each and every, are going to get some cool resources from everyone. Staying healthy, exercising, taking more breaks. Awesome, awesome. Maybe one more minute, then we'll get started. Ooh, using essential oils. I like that. I may have to borrow that one. Taking it day to day, meditation. You guys have some really great strategies. More me time. That's one that I struggle with too. It's always something for everybody else, but more me time is important. All right, we're gonna keep going. Feel free to continue on, but we're gonna keep chugging. All right, some quick meeting reminders. We are going to be recording this session. If you don't feel comfortable being recorded, go ahead and cut your screen off. That way they won't be able to see you, but we do record sessions so that others can look at it throughout the school year. Also, please use the chat if you have any questions. I'm happy that we just fixed that so you guys can actually engage with us. And then if for some reason the chat isn't working and you have a question that you think benefits the group, it's an open space, so feel free to raise a hand or unmute and just let us know so that we can make sure everyone's needs are being met. All right, we are already recording, so we're gonna keep going. Today's agenda. So we're going to do some opening moves, which we're already in the middle of, a little bit of framing. Then we're going to let you guys choose your adventure, exploring with resources, kind of seeing what fits your needs and the role that you are in this year in SFUSD. Then we'll come back as a group very quickly and just kind of debrief what we've seen, share some highlights or some aha moments that we had, and then share a little bit about how you can get more support around doing, working with the instructional guides and with digital learning get it started guides at your school sites or at your offices, and then we'll do some closing moves. So during this time together, we are hoping that we get a chance to explore the digital learning guides, the digital learning getting started guides, excuse me, discuss a little bit about plan and implementation ideas, and then understanding the scope of the K-5 instructional guides and beginning to develop ways to use the guides in your classrooms or at your school sites. Once again, we do not expect you guys to walk away with a whole unit year-long plan. It's just ways to show you how you can engage with them and start brainstorming some ideas of how you can use them in your school year this year. I'm gonna pass it to Nobi and let him kind of frame us a little bit before we continue on.
Right. Good morning, everyone. And Devlin, I'm going to ask you to stop sharing your screen so I can share mine for a few.
Gotcha.
Thank you so much. My name is Nobi Camarina, and I'm part of the professional learning and leadership team. Our team worked with a bunch of other teams to help design the instructional guides. As you heard earlier in the day, we've got kind of PK through fifth grade going, and hopefully we will get middle school and high school up over the next year or two. The guides really come from a place of acknowledging that in the past we had a bunch of information, but it really wasn't designed around the classroom teacher. And so, like if I taught third grade, well, I'll say I was a K1 teacher for about 20 years. So I'll say, as a kindergarten teacher, if I was looking for math stuff, I had to go to the math site. If I was looking for English stuff, I had to go to the English site. So we wanted to start like, what does a grade level teacher need? And what do they need to know about students at that grade level? So with that in mind, we've got our 1.0 version out of the K5 guides. So let me go here. I'm going to share my screen. And Devlin will share this link shortly when we get to the next section. So you can see here, instructional guidance by grade level. And I'm just going to go to third grade and just kind of give you an overview of how it's organized. So Dr. Wayne this morning talked about these 4 questions that we want to be able to say yes to. Are all students engaged in the work of the lesson from the start to finish, demonstrating a sense of belonging and purpose? Are all students responsible for doing the thinking in the classroom? Are all students working with content aligned to the appropriate standards for their subject and grade? And do all students demonstrate that they are learning? So using those 4 questions and 4 big concepts, we organize the instructional guides, really hoping that this is one tool that we can use to support each other in getting to being able to say yes to each of those 4 questions. So I'll just walk you through these 4 sections briefly, highlight some things that I think might be extra important as we're starting this school year, and then Devlin's going to dive into the I forget exactly what you call it, but launching the digital learning component of students' experience. So in the culture of learning section, we have a developmental lens for the ages that are most common for that grade. So third grade, 8 and 9-year-olds. We have some guidance around building family partnerships, launching the school year, what you might want to need to get ready before day 1, and then some lesson plans that are available to you for the first 6 weeks of school. We also have some guidance around instructional minutes and how you might work those into your day and week. I'm going to jump down in essential content. I'm just going to close this so it doesn't get too messy. We have each of the content areas. I'm going to go into digital learning. In each of these, you'll find an overview of what students might experience in that grade level. You'll have an articulation of what the priority standards are within that content area. As you know, some of the content areas have hundreds of standards. And so we asked our content experts to highlight what are the highest leverage ones for this grade, that if students walk away with these, they should be well set up for the next step in their learning in the next grade. So they've, for each of the content areas, they've highlighted some. And likewise, what are the key signature elements that this discipline or content area uses in order to teach and have students immerse themselves in this discipline? And so you'll find highlights of that. Most of the content areas have materials for digital learning. We have devices, what you should have, what students should have, and how to get help if you don't have what you need. Along with that, you'll find units of study and a planning or pacing guide. In this case, it links out to it. And then lastly, if you want more, I really want to know more about digital learning, this was a useful overview. What is next? Then content areas have provided a way to get more information from them. We have a section like that for each of the content areas. Academic ownership is that deeper learning piece that we also heard about this morning in the keynote session. A lot of this is also deeply tied to student agency. And so how are we building equitable access and demand? What does inquiry look like across the content areas? what does collaboration look like? And how are we assessing for learning? Not just that students know stuff, but that they are owning their learning, that they can apply and meaningfully transfer with their learning. And lastly, we have the demonstration of learning section, in which you will find the required assessments for SFUSD and for the state, and also some guidance around formative assessments in the classroom. And on a really practical level, also for each of the grade levels, the calendar of required assessments. Our hope is that these tools will be a valuable resource for you in the day-to-day as you are planning with your grade level teams and working with your coaches, and that as a district, they're both a way that we can align and hold some accountability at the district level. What are students experiencing in this case in third grade across the district, classroom to classroom, site to site, that students and families can count on. And with that, I will hand back to Evelyn. Oops.
Thank you, Nobi. Let me go ahead and share my screen for folks. All right. So thank you, Nobi, for grounding us in that. So the digital learning getting started guides are just kind of a support in that, knowing that most content areas and instructional teams kind of have their own websites and landing pages and curriculum already fleshed out on how to help educators when they're building out their their school year sequences. The digital learning team, which is a team I'm a part of, really sat back and thought last year when we were engaging in this work, what does that look like in terms of digital learning? Is there a landing space where educators and school sites can go and learn more about developmentally appropriate resources when we're thinking about digital learning for students, that we're building them through that pre-K through 12th grade experience at SFUSD. So as a team, we focused last year on K through 5, and during the summer, been partnering with early ed. And then this school year, we'll be focusing with our secondary 6th through 12th grades to kind of flesh out something similar to really highlight topics that we think and that we know and studies and data have shown that really support students when we're thinking about digital learning in education. So some of those topics are foundational skills, just like keyboarding and when to introduce keyboarding, or what does Chromebook usage look like, digital agency when we're thinking about how to make sure that students are being not only kind with themselves, but really having that online presence. That's something that will take them throughout life now. And also having some key digital learning lessons that educators can use in the classroom in real time to kind of align with all the other content areas that we have that support and increase academic ownership, but also do that deeper learning that SFUSD is really focused on and continuing. So in order to kind of, and in each of the guides, we have kind of an introduction, but I wanted everyone here to kind of have that beginning introduction. So the director of digital learning made a quick little video that I want to share with you guys that kind of hits on how to explore the resources, and then we'll give you guys some time to look at those resources. So I'm going to go ahead and share this video with you. I want to make sure it has the right sound though. Oops, sorry guys. Kind of want to make sure. So we're going to go out of this for a second. Do it this way. Give me 1 second to stop so that it pulls out the right way, because I know sometimes the sound messes up. I don't want it to mess up you guys when you're listening. All right, here we go. Should be able to hear the sound better now.
Zareen Poonen-Levine, and I'm the Director of Digital Learning for SFUSD's Department of Technology, and I used to be a classroom teacher here in the district as well. The Digital Learning and Enablement team has created this slide deck to help you get started in integrating digital learning into your curriculum. We hope that this resource will give you some practical ideas and strategies to use with your students. This slide deck has 5 sections for you to explore, with a table of contents to help you navigate. You don't need to go in order. Choose the sections and resources that are most useful to you and click on these links to skip ahead to each section. The 5 sections are first, the framing. This is where we share what students will be doing with technology in this grade and some inspiring work from across the district. You can see that this section is in purple and labeled with the icon of the hands. You'll see this icon in color throughout the pages in this section. The next section is preparing for digital learning. This is where we share what apps are available and recommended, with links on how to use those tools. And this section is in blue with the clipboard icon. The next section is digital fluency. This is where we share the technology skills and routines recommended for this grade, in addition to information about devices, digital citizenship skills, which we call digital agency, and family partnership resources. You can think of digital fluency as those foundational tech skills like keyboarding, learning about Chromebook features, and staying safe online. And this section is in green with the laptop icon. The next section is academic ownership, and this is where we link to specific activities and lessons that enhance our district curriculum with digital tools. You might want to jump to this section for those grab and go lessons to get started with. You'll see this term academic ownership in other district resources too, and it means that we're making sure students are responsible for doing their own thinking, in other words, owning their academic learning. This section is in orange with the brain icon. And finally, our Going Deeper section, where we have lots more digital learning resources for you. This section is in dark blue with the diving icon. Once again, you don't have to use this deck in order. Please click on the links in the table of contents at the beginning of the deck, and then click on any of the links to jump directly to those sections. Please bookmark this slide deck and feel free to share it with colleagues, and contact our team with any questions or feedback. We hope that this tool will give each and every student in SFUSD the critical foundation in technology skills needed to thrive in the 21st century.
Okay, so I hope that that provided a little bit more of an overview for you guys. So we're actually going to give you guys some time to work and explore with those resources. Oops, sorry. So this is what I like to call the explore and learn section, because I feel like folks learn better by doing. So Nobi and I thought this would be a good time to let you guys kind of dive deep with the resources and just explore for a little bit. So we're going to ask you guys to do is head over to the K-5 Digital Learning Getting Started Guides webpage. It's a mouthful. We're going to drop that link in the chat, and you can pick at least one grade level that you'd like to explore today. So you may say, oh, I am a kindergarten teacher. I want to see what resources they have for kindergarten, or I'm supporting 3rd through 5th grade, but maybe I really want to focus on 4th grade today, and I'm going to go ahead and look at the 4th grade one. In the chat, we're going to give you guys access to that web page, and we're really going to let you have time to explore and look at it, but also want to give you time to just kind of think how you could use it in your classroom or in what the work that you're doing. If you're coaching, how you can help your educators that you're supporting this year. If you're an admin, how can you set up some PDs or spaces for folks to kind of engage and work with the activities? If you're a literacy coach, how can this tie into literacy coaching? So we're going to give you guys 15 minutes to explore those resources. And after those 15 minutes, we'll come back as a group and just do a quick group share, about 5 to 7 minutes, where folks can share highlights. If you saw something that maybe you want to say, oh, I really love this piece, or I had questions or wonderings about that, this would be the perfect time to kind of do it in a group setting and hear from others what sparked interest or what also brought moments of confusion or wondering, because this year we'll be really diving in with them deeply together. So we would love to hear your thoughts on them, but also kind of seeing what piques your interest. Let's see, I think Nobi already dropped them in the chat. So we're gonna just let you guys explore for about 15 minutes. I'm gonna have this timer up just so some folks like to know an actual number count, but I can also write in the chat and say, hey, 10 more minutes, 5 more minutes. We're coming back in 1 minute. We won't have sound only because sometimes sound kind of jars some folks. So we're gonna focus more on the putting in the chat and having a visual countdown for you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and start that. Feel free to go on mute, video off, and just explore the resources. Also, if you have any questions, write them in the chat, or you can unmute and ask your question with the group, or you can wait till share out time too.
Right.
Hi, folks. So Nobi and I just chatted offhand really quickly, and we realized that we're actually doing pretty good in time. So instead of having us come back at 10:30, we're gonna have you guys come back at 10:40 so that you have time to kind of really look at maybe multiple grades, look at the grade span, but dive in a little bit deeper with the getting started guides. So we'll come back at 10:40. I'll change the timer so you guys can see the visuals, but just giving you some more time to explore the resources. Hope this helps. We're going to come back in about 4 more minutes. So feel free to start writing down some ideas or things that stood out to you, things you have some deeper questions about, because we'll share out in a group in about 4 minutes. Right. We are going to come back as a group and do a group share. Gonna let Nobi lead us in this piece.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. So yeah, we just want to take some time to hear from you. So we've got some prompts on the board on the wall here to use the raise hand feature if you have something you want to share, to introduce yourself when you do share, and share which getting started guide you explored, so we know if we're talking K or fifth grade or what have you, and share your initial thoughts. What are the implications for your own practice, and what's resources do you anticipate using and how? Just going to scan through the participant list and see if I see any raised hands. And Devlin, if you go through and you see anybody, please feel free to call out as well. And if these prompts feel limiting to you and you have something that you just feel the urge to say or a question that you really need to ask, those are absolutely welcomed. Patricia and then Christopher.
Hi, everyone. My name is Patricia, and I'm going to be a special education paraeducator. And I'll be servicing moderate to severe autistic kids in a middle school setting. So because I haven't met the kids yet, I was actually looking at all of the training guides, and I think I will be referring to them. And of course, I will be seeking guidance from the special education teacher that I'll be supporting too. So thank you so much for sharing the guidelines. I was wondering, as someone who is new-ish to the industry, this will be my first school year participating. Do you guys have any words of advice for me and whatnot? Thank you so much.
First off, congratulations, Patricia, and thank you for going down the education journey with all of us. Words of wisdom is just like, you are here for a reason. Like, you have chosen this profession for an amazing reason, servicing students and families, and lead with that. Like, when things get hard or tough, lean in on the fact that you chose to be in this space, and you chose to be in this space for a reason. And I think one thing that helped me my first few years, especially in SFUSD, was leaning on veteran educators and just kind of picking up, okay, this is how you guys do it. I have a question. Like, no question is too out there. Just ask whatever you can. Listen to the folks that are in the space with you. Team up with whoever is willing to team up. And the families, like, those were my go-to. When things got really hard, I was like, look, this is my first year. I want to make sure your babies are ready. What can we do together? Like, what are you doing at home? You have an amazing view of your child at home. I'm learning a view of your child at school. How can we bring those two things together to make this experience amazing for all of us? And I think once I connected with families and those veteran teachers, it made things so much easier. I'm not gonna say it was easy all the time, but leaning into those groups of people really helped me in education. And we're here too. Just send me an email. I'm happy to come out and help and support in any way you think I can.
Thanks, Devlin. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Of course. Yeah.
All right, we have Christopher and then Tylin.
That's right.
Great.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Christopher McAllister. I'm a paraeducator, and I was just reading through some of the fourth and fifth grade digital fluency, and just learning information that a lot of these kids have to learn. And I also work at the middle school level with students athletically wise and high school wise also, and just knowing that there's a lot of resources out here, and just tapping on some of these links and knowing that families have a lot of resources that maybe they don't think they have or know that they have, that are unaware of, because I just started clicking, and you just lead you to one thing, to the next thing, to the next thing, and it's just a bunch of information. I'm also a parent of students in SFUSD also, so it's just a lot of information that as educators that we can actually really provide for families and students. And so I think it's a great thing, because sometimes you are left at, well, there's no resources, or how do I know, and so just by the digital day and this particular session, I just learned a lot of information. So I just wanted to express that.
Thank you, Christopher, very much. Really appreciate you sharing. Tylin.
Yeah, so hi everybody. My name is Tylen. I am a first year teacher. So I actually explored my grade level. I'll be teaching first grade this year. And as a new teacher, I mean, there's going to be a lot of learning for myself, managing a classroom, but also starting my own digital learning in the classroom. I was a substitute and I was a temporary teacher throughout my career. And I've been I've engaged in the digital learning, but understanding like the whole process and setting up. Um, this was an eye opener. I actually created a whole list of to-dos on the board of like what I need to do for myself and getting started and just organizing myself for this year. And I found this resource very educational, and I love that it provides the foundational technology skills and the strategies that's needed and the routines that we need as teachers to and educators to just be able to help these students gain digital literacy themselves. So thank you.
Kylan, thank you so much for sharing, and welcome to SFUSD.
Thank you so much.
Taylor.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hi. I was looking through the resources and I'm so grateful that this is here. I was intern teaching for 2.5 years at a like a rural elementary school in Northern California that had 4 computers for the whole student body. And so I was trying to integrate digital learning, but my mentors weren't really into that. So this is going to be like my first, I have to teach myself, and this is a really nice guide. Some things that came up for me when I was trying to teach technology last year was firstly, how to monitor student use of the internet when I hand the computer, and make sure that they're like doing school appropriate things during class. The other thing that I found somewhat difficult was like streamlining getting the appropriate apps that they needed onto each computer, and making sure that they like had logins if they were behind in knowing how to identify what letters make what sounds. So like just things as basic as typing was hard, especially with like logging themselves in. And I don't know if did I miss anything in the resources that might have like given me some advice on those types of things?
So I can chat briefly about both of those. So for the login procedures for SFUSD, we use Clever as for grades pre-K through 2nd grade. They just badge in. So our devices, you print off a badge. It should be in our resources on how to print them off. But if not, I'll check back and I can email you and kind of send it out to the group as well. But in the getting started guys, there should be a place where it says something about Clever. And on Clever, it'll tell you can badge in and how you can print those out and have students kind of just hold their badge up to the camera, and it'll log them in. And in Clever, all of our approved SFUSD resources are in Clever already. So it could be a routine as like, hey guys, we make sure we have our badges at our table, and when we're doing our seesaw, or something in Adobe, we pull up our badge, we badge in, and then we just click to Seesaw or we click to Clever. And I just realized my microphone was up sometimes. So you probably guys didn't hear anything I was saying this whole session. In
I heard everything. Yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you for that.
No problem. And then in terms of monitoring student use, we really encourage having those like classroom conversations and building that community. So we don't have a resource where you can kind of see remotely what the students are doing from your desk. Partly because we kind of feel like that puts up a barrier of like using digital learning in a truly blended space. So like the hope is that when you're in your classroom with your students, and this takes a build-up process, of course, but when you're with your students, that you may have some engaging on a really cool activity using a device, but other students may be sitting at a group with just pencil and paper and doing something, and other students may be in another space building something with their hands. And how do we incorporate that in the way where like the educator is more of a facilitator and I'm walking around showing you like and kind of engaging with you that way, as opposed to like we're all on a seesaw at the same time doing the same thing. And I know my team is happy to come out, the digital learning team is happy to come out and talk and kind of walk through that process, do some co-teaching, some modeling of that too. But that's kind of the stance that we take on it, that we purposely don't have that type of monitoring, because we don't want it to switch to the space where teachers in the front, students are at the table, just all kind of doing their own thing. But we also have a lot of security measures put in here in SFUSD. We're kind of block some things, and if students figure out ways to get past it, you let us know and we can rebuild some stuff. But it's truly a partnership of how we are engaging with digital learning with our students, our educators, and their families, so that it does feel like something that's doable and fun and engaging, and not another thing you have to manage on your own.
Okay, that brings up another question for me. If there's no other raised hands, and if you have time, would you mind?
I don't see any other hands, so I think you're good to go.
Okay. I am wondering if I saw that one of the 5th grade standards, I'm teaching digital art, media art. So I'm just a guest teacher. But I am thinking ahead to the 5th grade standard of knowing how to research things and make sure that that research is solid, like they know how to like check a source. So obviously just using Google with no limitations on what they can search is not a great idea. I'm wondering what you would recommend, if there's like another search engine, or just putting limits on Google, or how I can go about guiding them through looking for source material.
I actually, when you first started talking about, I was thinking about the work that we do around media literacy on our team. And so I would love to actually connect that resource with you guys. I'm not sure if we're going to have enough time to pull it up in this session, but I'm happy to add it to this session's notes so that you guys can pull it up. But I think that would be a great way, as opposed to like, yes, you can kind of change search and filters, but I think that would be a great way to kind of do the before work of like, hey, like this is how we engage with technology and with the different ways that media and news filtering is coming towards us. This is how we're using those critical thinking skills, so that you know when you're searching it, how to access something that feels like it may be real or it may not be real, and how do we use those critical thinking skills to support our search. So I'm going to make sure I add that. I want to make a note to add that to our resources today. So it won't be up there by the end of today, but by tomorrow, if you come back to the Zoom events page, it'll be resources, and I'll try to make sure that I highlight it so you guys can see that piece.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. Is there
Thank you for
anything, you
bringing
know
that
how
up.
like in college you use JSTOR?
Yeah, I do remember. It's
Is
a long
there
time ago,
something?
but I remember.
Yeah. Is there something like that for children besides Google, where they
There
can search for
is.
things?
There is, and the name is mistaking me, but the library department here in SFUSD has a really great like hub of those resources, and I can't remember the web page, but I will
Oh,
also
cool.
add
I'll
that
just
to
ask
it
the
too.
library. Okay. Thank you.
No
That's great.
problem.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Let me
And
make a note so
I
don't
think we should probably move into closing moves. Oh, and to Taylor, some of our librarians and their admirers have left some comments that are also useful, I think, in the chat. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Let's solve these questions together. All right, so that kind of brought us to our next step, going deeper. So if you're like some of our friends who shared, you want to know a little bit more, you have some more questions, this is not the end of your conversation. And we wanted to let you guys know that there are always ways to dive deeper and get support at your school site or in the work that you do if you're not at a school site. But the two main ways that we're going to push you today, if you want to know more about instructional guys and really get some more time to dive in deeper, Nobi's team is going to be doing, and a couple of my team members will be joining them, but it's really Nobi's team that's holding that work. We'll be at Buyback Day, which is this upcoming Monday, and we linked in the Buyback Day agenda so you can kind of have the Zoom link and what will be going on in those spaces. And it's also from pre-K through high school. So I think the high schools are in person. I think pre-K and high school are in person, but K through 6, maybe the K through 6, K through 5 is all virtual, but the agenda has more information. But that's where, if you want to know more about instructional guides, that's where we would suggest you guys go. In terms of my team, digital learning team, if you want some more support and just kind of chatting through some of these processes, each cohort, and each school is a part of a cohort, but each cohort has an assigned digital learning cohort partner that can come out and chat with you guys, that can send resources. Anytime you have a technology related question, it usually comes through us first. I support cohort 4 primarily. So if your school's in cohort 4, I'm your girl. But if you don't know which cohort you're a part of, or you don't know who your cohort partner is, go ahead and click that link. And it'll let you know who those people are, and you can connect with them, ask them to come out. We're happy to do some PDs or trainings, happy to share resources, but wanted to make sure you guys had those items available. Last but not least, we would love for you guys to give us some feedback. It just helps us kind of inform our practice and know like what we should make sure we focus on next time, which we shouldn't focus on, what works and what doesn't work. I'm gonna drop the feedback link in the chat. It's a Digital District Day wide one, so make sure when you go in there that you are naming that you want to chat about setting the stage for digital learning SFUSD. I think Nobi beat me to it, but he's going to go ahead and drop that in the chat. You can also scan the QR code if you want to just do it over your phone. And another cool thing I wanted to share with you guys, I'm going to give you guys about 30 more seconds to scan it if you need to scan it. In this slide deck, we have a ton of just DOT resources. So if you're someone who's just saying, hey, I want to know who's a part of the team and where and how I get in contact with them, those slides are there. We have more information about the instructional guidance, those links to the digital learning getting started guides. We have information about our digital agency curriculum that's coming up. It's really exciting. Just Google features and new things about Google. We are a Google school district, so it'd be nice to know how those things work. So those have resources there. We have tons of programming in our on our team, so it just has all those links to all those different resources, things that we've been working on this past summer. But just wanted you guys to have access to it. If you ever have a technology question and you just don't know where to start, help.sfusd.edu. We'll send you right to our help desk ticket. You'll send the ticket and it'll connect you with the right people who can help you with that. So yeah, I think that's all we have for you guys with 1 minute to spare. I'm gonna stop our screen, our share, and just say thank you for joining us. I hope you have a wonderful Digital District Day. If we don't see you before the school year starts, have an amazing school year, and reach out to us if you ever need anything or if you think we could help point you in the right direction.